We give thanks to the moment, and we know a whole heap of one really look forward for Wednesday night. Now we hear a whole heap of one look forward to Thursday afternoon. So we're going to make use of it, because we know so the moment is clear. You know, say there's so much things in the news. Every week has something different, you know. Every week I hear about the teacher will beat the picnic with the PVC pipe. No, Rasta, I tell you, the teacher never go out wicked. 9-year-old teacher beat the youth with the PVC pipe. They can't hold finger, can't hold the pencil again. Terrible thing. Terrible thing. The teacher, they should be arrested immediately. Not to mention the teacher last week where take out the picnic pants. How go on with them teacher? Where them come from? Where they really come from, though? Anyway, the big news of foreign is that a 20-year-old youth, about 29-year-old, you know, him just bust pan America secrets and run Ghana, Hong Kong. America is in daze, in dazzlement. Because enough things them, the youth bust out where them never really want to come out, you know. You know, last week we play some clips from news reports from the what them call it, Boston Marathon bomber or bombers whatsoever. Well, that one, you know, seem to evil overshadow this Boston bomber thing, you know. This is a youth where did a work for NSA, and him decides, say, boy, right now, we can't take what America doing a Rasta. Now, if you don't know, I can tell you no, you know. Because you know, so we are telling you things and then you say, well, somehow, no, I go and like say, boy, I don't know what I say. Because years we are doing this thing, and little after you go hear it get big out, you know, you say, boy, everybody are ray, because remember when we're telling about the AIDS thing, you know. Man, I said, where Muta get that from? All right. Remember, we're telling about the mad cow thing, you know. Man, I said, Muta, madman, you know. You might talk about cow, I get mad. We see it come reality. Remember, we're telling about genetically modified foods, you know. And genetically modified animals and genetically modified plants. And people say, where Muta get them things from? Now, we see a big news now. GMO and Monsanto and all these things. Remember, we're telling you that the name Jesus don't have no significance or relevance to any history. Now we see people are examining it closely now, you understand? So, enough things. But, you know, say, America, if I hear them say, America is Uncle Sam, sometimes people may wonder where the hell them get this thing, Uncle Sam. But America told the people of America, because some so-called conspiracy theorists come out and say America are tapping into phone calls and emails. As a matter of fact, you cannot dial somebody and them know exactly who a dial and which number a dial to, and just listening by your phone call. Likewise, the email. So even though you feel the email secure, you know, it not secure. Now, them claim say, well, is Obama. Obama claims say, watch out, we don't do that to American people, you know, because that is against the Constitution of America in terms of the privacy of people to have privacy. It's only foreigners we do it too. It's only foreigners we do it too. So, meanwhile, him there they say it's only foreigners them do it too. That means, you know, every call we out of earth, you know, outside of America can be tapped into by America security services, you know, CIA, FBI, NSA, any one of them. Well, a guy come bust out and I say, but really and truly, you know, say Obama a lie because Obama knows say all the American citizens them are listening to. Well, last week, a youth who work with them, insider, declare say, America do some dangerous things. Because we know America do dangerous things for a long time, They set up all assassinations and murders and destabilize countries. Remember, we play this tape here with Farrakhan, remember, read out most of the countries where America go in and destabilize them and assassinate all them prime minister, this and put in government where them want put in for be, what them call part of the American lackeys or puppets. Well, no. This is a big thing going on, because them don't know what to do. America don't know what to do now after this future. Him just keep them, him live Hawaii, him just keep them and run Ghana and Kong. And him no stop talk. Because today him say something different or no, him say something else, not something different. Him say something else we have never did that say before. A serious thing. So now, what happened now is that American people vex because Obama they don't tell them say years ago say boy right now him respect the privacy of America, yet still him send drone go kill Americans. Yes, in a Yemen him sanction a drone killing in a Yemen we kill Americans, and them want to know if that is constitutional, that you should have sent drone to kill Americans. But them a plan to have drones in America too, to kill Americans. But the big thing is that Obama say one thing and now the youth come to something, and them is up and down in Washington, you know, them don't know what to do. Because this youth you know is a problem. It's a big problem. So here we're going to know, as usual, we're going to play some clip where you're not going to hear on primetime radio in Jamaica. Because, as may I say, the thing I say, go through CNN and all them place there before. Just like Monsanto, just like Mad Cow, just like AIDS, just like all of them we represent. We're going to present now 3 clips. 3 clips? Yeah, we're going to present 3 clips. One of them is Obama reassure the American people about him not creeping in upon Americans' privacy. And then we're going to go down the line and play some other ones where the reaction to this man perpetually telling the people them one thing. And now people now is, you have groups of Americans right now in America who was totally Obama. Now them declaring that Obama worse than Bush. No, I don't know it, but we never, watch a man. When I said, Rasta, because we attack them things from the first time him get elected. And where we are him, so we are say, look here, all the balloon here, all man sing song about this and that and that and that, You see America now, you ever talk about a black man be president? America. And may I say that, and maybe all 100 years them do it, but may I say it right now. America will never allow a son of a slave to rule them. What I say? What I say America will never allow the son of a slave to rule them. You understand? And all we say go on is set this. Whether you want to see a conspiracy theory or not, all that you see we are going, them things are set up to redirect the people them. Because it's during the time of all the Iraq war that are going on, them things, them realize say, boy, right now America is really in a bad state with the world. Them need a face. Them need a face in front of the world now to say, soften the kind of feeling where people did have because of Bush and all the other people, them, the neoconservatives and all these people over there behind him, they behind Bush. So them need a soft face. And the one where them choose is Obama. Obama bring back America popularity worldwide and in America. Now, it's amazing. It's amazing that I hear some serious liberals in America right now, some ones where it's unbelievable that they must say, when they must say about Obama, you know. It's unbelievable that they must say these things about Obama. It's like, you know, when I want to disappoint you, and you get disappointed, it's like him become your worst enemy, you know. Yes. It's like him worse than the man who you did a fight against for bringing this man here. Yeah, him worse than the man there according to how them look upon him now. So here we're going to know. We're going to look for this clip. We want to reflect on something because people seem not to understand how things work certain way, you know. But it's the people them who you call, the people that call them prophet, like in the Bible now. The prophets them. And when I want to say I want prophesy, it means he might tell you something where going to happen, where the normal person we love them kind of don't understand why him say it going to happen. But him know say it going to happen. And it is given over to some. That is if you want to trick the people. If you want make people look by you in a very high way, a man of God and them thing there, you will tell them, say, it's God give you that premonition, that feeling that this is going to happen. So the uneducated and the ignorant, when them see it happen, them give power to you, them give you more power. As a matter of fact, them class, you know, as a prophet, as a man of God, because you say something and come to pass. Now, you see, in the olden days when man says things and it come to pass, these men who saying these things, you know and understand certain things, whether by nature or by politics. Them know the political standing of where them is, and them know in terms of knowing nature. It's like indigenous people. Indigenous people understand nature more than the Western mind. Be so powerful, what you call metropolitan mind, concrete jungle mind. So when the concrete jungle mind enter the indigenous culture, and the indigenous culture, the person in an indigenous culture say, look here, you see tomorrow rain a go fall, or you see tomorrow rain a go happen. You see the concrete jungle mind, him don't understand why them person that said, because him not see no evidence of this thing why happen. So you see when it happen, the next day or 1 month time, all right. For instance, now a man in the indigenous culture, maybe now people know these things, but there was a time when indigenous people say the rainy season, rain will come at a specific time, like rain will come, like how we say rainy time is May and October. You see, a man who is not into the consciousness of nature and how nature run, you see, if rain fall in a May, him have you as a serious prophet and a man of God, you know. Because you say rain did go fall and rain fall. Oh, you know say rain go fall. You know rain go fall through the experience of the culture. It's the culture that help you to project or analyze what is going to take place down the line. But when a man don't understand it, And when a man see it happen, him give power to the person who predict or who prophesy this thing. So him say, boy, this man is a man of God, you know. Because the man say rain is going to fall in May, I say rain fall. You see the man say rain is going to fall in October and rain fall. Which part him a come from? Him do have a clue about that. And if you're ignorant, and if you don't learn it by experience, the man say if you chop the bamboo when sun, moon a shine, couple months down the line, your house going to go rotten. I say a foolish matter. What you talk about? How him know say bamboo go rotten? Bamboo not rotten. Boom. You chop down the bamboo, build your house when sun when moon shine. Bam. Down the line, your house rotten. You say rotted. You know say the man did tell me say the thing did I go rotten. I never listen to him. How him know that? I must say God put him there so to say that, you know. So right now the man they become a prophet in a little place. Now we see something technologically advanced now. We see some science and technology advanced certain what we call things that we don't have to know work with prophecy. But we learn how for experience now and we learn how for science and technology. So when a man say clouds, the clouds dark, it means say rain go fall. Him can project say, well, you know, say the hurricane a move this so, the hurricane a go move this so, or the hurricane now go this so, or whatsoever. Him can use certain scientific approach to decide that. So we don't have to go into the prophets again. There's no prophets about the place. All the prophet them about the place right now is some ignorant people. Them a work off, but them a work off for the ignorance of the people. You know, see it. Most of them preach away you talk about them is prophet this and prophet that and prophet this and prophet that. It's ignorance. Them a work off for. Them work off. Them suck the blood, the thinking of the people them and play upon it. But the supernatural nature or the superstitious nature of the people. So through the people them feel say them have a connection with God. Anytime them say certain things, the people them say, yes, see there, him a the preacher, you know, him know what him a say, him a prophet this and prophet that. Because him can see the future. Him can tell you what going to happen in the future. And many little countrymen can tell you what going to happen in the future. And we're not talking about Obia man, no, we are dealing with man who have experience of time. Because it's age. Age, show you that. A little teenager can't know that. A 20-year-old youth can't know that. Because it take a, that's why certain people know certain things. Through experience of time. Time teach him. And the observation of this time. Some man observe things in surroundings and him know say, if him do this, that going to happen. If him don't do that, that not going to happen. So, him and that down to the village. Him say, look here, don't do this. Because if you do this, this going to happen. And you see when you go against what him say, and the thing happen where him say going to happen, you say, ratted. I should have listened, you know. This man must be a man of God. And it have nothing to do with no God, you know. It have something to do with the man wisdom and understanding based upon him experience. Based upon him age. Age, teach, wisdom. So, a man come and him name the president of America, you know, and you have president set already. That's why when you go court and you bring up something where nobody never hear about yet, them say, yeah, but it done set already. There's a president for what I say. And there's a president for this happening. And them refer to a case way down the line where happened years ago. For sure, say, there's a president set already for this, you know. So don't make it sound like, say, when me I talk about just now, it's a new thing. Because me I show you, say, at a court hearing in the year that One man they do that, and then come up with that, and them say, see it there, that is set already. So you use history for base up off your present knowledge or fullness of where you want to bring cross. So history is very important too. History, very important, even though people don't connect how history relate to what them do now and how them view the world. Because it's history make us view things how we view it. Our environment is created by a historical event that take place, even yesterday. So, we're looking at history and we see there was a time when Greece was a world power. Greece, European we are talking about now. We're not going in Africa. We're just stuck in Europe. Greece was a world power. Where Greece have a man named Alexander the Greek who go in what them call Iraq, Iran, Egypt, all of them places there, and manipulate, control, kill, murder, plunder, whatsoever them do, and become a great world superpower. That even the Bible, most of the New Testament, as a matter of fact, not even most, maybe all of the New Testament, the first time it was written down in a language that the Greeks them use. Even today, we say, in Ethiopia, that Greek word is still used to define the Savior, Jesus Christus. Isn't it ironical that there's no word in Amharic for Jesus Christ? The word that Ethiopians use is a Greek word, Jesus Christus. So when a man say Jesus Christus and I go on like say, he must say something higher than Jesus Christ. Him not say nothing higher than Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, Jesus Christus, the whole of them are the same European ideas. Even in Ethiopia. So the Greek them rule for a time. And the Greeks them fall. The Greek empire fall. And it fall to a next empire named the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire ruled the world under the Caesars. And then rule and then now under the popes. So when the Caesars was no more, even though you have the church and the state, but Europe was once manipulated by the church. The church had more power than the state. So it become almost like a theocratic reign by the popes. Just like how you have in Iran now, you have a theocratic government in Iran run by the Ayatollahs. But the Europeans was run by what we call a theocratic idea where the Pope, the head of the church, the Roman Catholic Church, was seen as the authority, the beginning and end of all authority. So Rome rule the world. And when we talk about the world now, you know, we have to even clarify it too. Because we don't even know if they rule all China and them place there. It's a world, we talk about the world as we know it, given to us by Europe. And that's how we could clarify it. So now, Rome fall. And very interesting that one must even, if you don't want to read the book, but listen to the audio tape of a book named The Fall of the Roman Empire. The Fall of the Roman Empire. Big book that people used to study them things in a university. But you know, you see Rome was a very influential state. Because it is out of Rome come most of the logics and the governmental ideas that we use today. So, Rome fall. And up come a place named Great Britain. Great Britain. No, you see where we are get at, you know. We see where we are get at. Believe you me. We have an agenda where we are telling you all of this. You say Great Britain take over the world as we know it. We can say the world as we know it. That Great Britain under the kings. Because I remember saying, no, Great Britain break away. Because when you talk about the power, now the power lie in the church. So when the paper say, or the Pope rule, what them call Christendom, because I remember I used to call it Europe, them call it Christendom. And when the popes them used to rule, you have some guys will rise up and feel say, them no deal with what the Pope deal with. So one such guy was Henry VIII, and Henry VIII, and you have this guy named Martin Luther, not to be mixed up with Martin Luther King out of America, but Martin Luther out of Germany. And Martin Luther break away and get what you call the Protestant. And Martin Luther give you the idea of this 666, where you hear holy pa man and whole arm pan. And then you have now the Anglican Church, which is the Church of England. This is where the break will come. So Britain become a state in itself, and them start to explore land, capture land, manipulate land, people. So we would now therefore say now Britain become a world power. And based upon religious persecutions, a whole heap of people out of that island, yes, Britain, Scotland and Wales, out of that island, and persecution start, a lot of them did have to come out of that island, the British Isles, and them end up in America, and British rule, and then we see, well, we want to declare that the fall of the British Empire, it fell where Britain was no longer the chief manipulator of what politically, socially, and economically take place in the world. Even though we say the Pope still manipulates certain things, but America, the power was given to America. So America become the superpower. And America is a superpower. Now, why we go through all of them long talk, you know? We go through all of them long talk that president set, just like the courthouse we talk about. President set because we say empires come and empires go. And nothing no lasts forever. Now, when you look on America now, you know, we not make no prophetical, we not give no prophetical language and no argument, you know, we are say, based upon our history, America going to go the same way as Britain, as Rome, as Greece, and we could even go further and say Persia, and them way there. It going to go the same way. No. If you have a precedent set, and you see history, mark it, and you come here so now in the present and don't realize this thing is inevitable, and you keep latching on upon something where you know it's not going to last, then you're going to go down with it. You're going to go down with it, and you can't blame nobody if you go down with it. Because Rome go down, and there was nobody during the Roman time could I tell you, say, the empire of Rome never did last forever. But it never lasts forever. Nobody would have known that at this time Greece would have come to such a serious position of economical depravity that Greece who almost invent money would have didn't know, say, they would have shot at that now and try to manipulate the whole market. So now we reach at the stage now where we reach America. And we say African people, both in Africa and in this part of the world, who get so latched on and can't maneuver themselves out of the lachan, or them get lachan like ticks. You have to take something and draw out the ticks out of the dog. And sometimes when you draw out the ticks, you see blood in the dog. Because the ticks that suck the dog. And sometimes the dog don't want you there. And you latch on, but you think the dog, why? You see the dog crab up himself and take him foot and crap you out and you can't come out. And him no want you there, but you still hold on upon him. And that's how America reach now, you know. America reach a stage now where, just like Britain know that they prefer not to have the colonies to weigh down upon them. So them say, take your independence. Because I give you independence, you know. You think that we fight for that? I give you independence. Our ancestors fight to come out of slavery. And our so-called nation leaders, because them couldn't deal with the colonies anymore, them say, why give them independence in the Rasta, but them go and go fend for themselves. So you know, we want to know if these leaders in the Caribbean and so in Africa are going to look upon America and see say America a fall and still latch on to America. You don't see where we are going in the world. This is not no prophetical language or message. This is a natural progression that if you look upon the thing, you see the thing happen right in front of you. It will open out like a sunflower seed, like a sunflower flower. It will open out in front of you. And whole heap of people are going like them can't see it. You don't see where we are going in Europe. You don't see where we are going in America. You don't see the people them way over the other side of the world when named China and manipulate the whole thing to the point where all enough things in America now is run by the Chinese. Then if the Chinese people who don't have a record of human rights can manipulate the economy of this big superpower named America and all the other places in Europe, who don't say something is going down. Where the leaders them there? Or the leaders them not see that? So if the leaders them don't see that, how the people them going to strive because the people them supposed to have the power, you know. But the people them understanding certain things, not going to change the thing. It have to change based upon how the leaders them react to what the people them is dealing with. So if the people them go so boom and say, hey, and the leader say, yeah, hey, but what you know, we have beef to work with it, all right, and we can work with it. Because most of Jamaican people never want Jamaica to go to the IMF, but we never have no choice. I mean, we have a choice, but who are listen? Nobody now listen. Peter Phillips say, I go IMF, you know, business where you are, say. We are go IMF. IMF supposed to alleviate certain problems where them did have, which we know, say, President set with IMF already. We don't look on the places where IMF go into and realize, say, oh, we're going to fall for that. We don't know that already. There's not take no rocket scientists to go see that. IMF is not the solution to the Jamaican problem. And when them go and help him, them come tell you that too, you know. Because the Prime Minister, they come tell you say IMF is not the solution to the Jamaica problem, you know, but them still go there because them have feel say, boy, that can alleviate some of the problems. And look where going now since them go to the IMF. Look how much pronouncements are made by the ministers and this and that and how much cutback and how much this and how much things. This thing is known already. We don't know so them things. We go through this already. We go through all of them things already with them. So all we are going like said, it not happen. It happened already. You must use history for mark where you're there now. If you not use history for mark where you're there now, you're going to repeat it. And that the people them are do, they might repeat history. Or we keep repeating history over and over and over. Dumb with them and fool. If we did have something happen already, all we have to do is look away happen already and say we now go that way there. If you keep doing the same thing the same way all the while, you're going to get the same result. It's fool, them people are fool hour. If you do the same thing the same way all the while, you're going to get the same result. And them keep doing the same thing the same way all the while, and all of them people them now do the same thing. Them are going to say them now do the same thing, and the same thing them are do. Some man come out now and him say, Why, Obama? Me, you say certain things, but guess what? Me work with you. And me know say, won't I tell the people them say, not no go so. Not no go so. Presume control, you know. Listen to this now. So we're going to play out the first one. Listen to this now.
Mr. President, could you please react to the reports of secret government surveillance of phones and internets? And can you also assure Americans that the government, your government, doesn't have some massive secret database of all their personal online information and activities?
Yeah. When I came into this office, I made two commitments that are more important than any commitment I make. Number one, to keep the American people safe. And number two, to uphold the Constitution. And that includes what I consider to be a constitutional right to privacy and an observance of civil liberties. Now, the programs that have been discussed over the last couple of days in the press are secret in the sense that they're classified, but they're not secret in the sense that when it comes to telephone calls, every member of Congress has been briefed on this program. With respect to all these programs, the relevant intelligence committees are fully briefed on these programs. These are programs that have been authorized by broad bipartisan majorities repeatedly since 2006. And so I think at the outset it's important to understand that your duly elected representatives have been consistently informed on exactly what we're doing. Now, let me take the two issues separately. When it comes to telephone calls, nobody is listening to your telephone calls. That's not what this program's about. As was indicated, what the intelligence community is doing is looking at phone numbers and durations of calls. They are not looking at people's names, and they're not looking at content. But by sifting through this so-called metadata, they may identify potential leads with respect to folks who might engage in terrorism. If these folks, if the intelligence community then actually wants to listen to a phone call, they've got to go back to a federal judge, just like they would in a criminal investigation. So I want to be very clear. Some of the hype that we've been hearing over the last day or so, nobody's listening to the content of people's phone calls. This program, by the way, is fully overseen not just by Congress, but by the FISA court, a court specially put together to evaluate classified programs to make sure that the executive branch or government generally is not abusing them and that it's being carried out consistent with the Constitution and rule of law. And so not only does that court authorize the initial gathering of data, but I want to repeat, if anybody in government wanted to go further than just that top-line data and wanted to, for example, listen to Jackie Combs' phone call, they'd have to go back to a federal judge and indicate why, in fact, they were doing further probing. Now, with respect to the internet and emails, this does not apply to U.S. citizens, and it does not apply to people living in the United States. And again, to U.S. citizens, and it does not apply to people living in the United States. And again, in this instance, not only is Congress fully apprised of it, but what is also true is that the FISA court has to authorize it. So, in summary, what you've got is two programs that were originally authorized by Congress, have been repeatedly authorized by Congress. Bipartisan majorities have approved them. Congress is continually briefed on how these are conducted. There are a whole range of safeguards involved, and federal judges are overseeing the entire program throughout. We've also set up an audit process when I came into office to make sure that we're, after the fact, making absolutely certain that all the safeguards are being properly observed. Now, having said all that, you'll remember when I made that speech a couple of weeks ago about the need for us to shift out of a perpetual war mindset. I specifically said that one of the things that we're going to have to discuss and debate is how are we striking this balance between the need to keep the American people safe and our concerns about privacy. Because there are some trade-offs involved. I welcome this debate, and I think it's healthy for our democracy. I think it's a sign of maturity, because probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we might not have been having this debate. And I think it's interesting that there's some folks on the left, but also some folks on the right who are now worried about it, who weren't very worried about it when it was a Republican president. I think that's good that we're having this discussion. But I think it's important for everybody to understand, and I think the American people understand, that there are some trade-offs involved. You know, I came in with a healthy skepticism about these programs. My team evaluated them. We scrubbed them thoroughly. We actually expanded some of the oversight, increased some of the safeguards. But my assessment and my team's assessment was that they help us prevent terrorist attacks. And the modest encroachments on privacy that are involved in getting phone numbers or duration without a name attached and not looking at content, that on net, it was worth us doing. That's, some other folks may have a different assessment of that. But I think it's important to recognize that you can't have 100% security and also then have 100% privacy and zero inconvenience. We're going to have to make some choices as a society. And I can say is that in evaluating these programs, they make a difference.
Okay, all right. So, me could understand where him really say in this thing here. Where I say is that, all right, we don't really want to encroach on. All right, first of all, him say, we're not listening to conversations. We're not read people email. We're not listening to conversations. Down the line now, him say, look you know, for really all the security as how we want it, you know, because when I did come in power, I was totally I was against it. But after further evaluation, remember, say Bush did that say these things, you know. Bush did that say they must do this and do that, you know, and Dick Cheney, you know, and then now him come and say none of that, and then now after him sit down with all him friend them and people them and further evaluation, them and say, watch out, you can't have 100% of this thing. There's a time when you really have to do certain things outside at the levels in order to secure America. So it's not that, may I tell you, say, we 100% nah listen. We are say, we really nah listen. But if it comes to the case where we feel, say, it is at national security, we're going to listen. this is relating to American phone calls, you know. Is when Americans make phone calls, because if them not talk about outside America, you know, outside America, them listen to anything where them want to listen to. You understand? But you might talk about with the American people and securing the privacy of American. Him just a say, why, when me just come in a power in a Rasta, me did that scene say, the thing can't work that way, but here what all. You see, when me come out and come realize, say, why right now certain things can't work, or me did that see it. And that is the thing with politicians, you know. When you're outside, you feel say you can't save the world. And when you go in there, you become the world. You understand? Okay, so this is the cutting edge, and I refer me going to come forward. We are kind of evaluate recent developments we are going in America now pertaining to this brother where this create vibes in America. So we give the Obama reasoning where we say, where Obama say, look here, we not listen to people conversation, we just have the number and thing, but we not listen to them. And then down the line now, him say, after coming into power and him realize when him sit down with them people, then he must say, watch you know. You say, oh, me did have view it really, and it can't work that way there. So it's not that we not listen to you. Kind of make sure say to him, say, if you want certain security, you have to give up something. Which is that he must say. If you want certain security, you have to give up something. So we're not, it's not that we are listening to you, we're not 100% not listening to you. You understand? So if kind of steer you up to make you know, say, yeah, me did say, we're not going to work with certain things, but you see what Bush did say, him did right. It's really that he must say. He must say, Bush did right, you know. We have to work with what Bush did say. We have to really go into certain things. All right, now. So this is the one now where very important to the whole thing. This one here. Listen to that one here now.
My guest today is William Binney, a whistleblower, former National Security Agency official. He was one of the first to reveal the agency's massive domestic spying program. Mr. Binney revealed that NSA sought and received access to telecommunications companies' domestic and international billing records, that it has intercepted somewhere between 15 to 20 trillion communications. Mr. Binney also claims that in order to cover its warrantless surveillance, the agency concealed it under the patriotic-sounding name Terrorist Surveillance Program. Mr. Binney, thank you so much for coming. In light of the Petraeus/Allen scandal, while the public is so focused on the details of their family drama, one may argue that the real scandal in this whole story is the power, the reach of the surveillance state. I mean, if we take General Allen, thousands of his personal emails have been sifted through private correspondence. I mean, it's not like any of those men was planning an attack on America. Does this scandal prove the notion that there is no such thing as privacy in a surveillance state?
Well, yes, that's what I've been basically saying for quite some time, is that the FBI has access to the data collected, which is basically the emails of virtually everybody in the country, and the FBI has access to it. All the congressional members are on this surveillance too. It's not, no one's excluded. They're all included. So yes, this can happen to anyone if they become a target for whatever reason. If they are targeted by the government can go in, or the FBI or other agencies of the government can go into that database, pull all that data they've collected on them over the years, and reanalyze it all. So retroactively analyze everything they've done over the last 10 years at least.
And it's not just about those who could be planning, who could be a threat to national security, but also those who could be just...
It's everybody. I thought the NARIS device simply takes in the entire line, so it takes all the data. In fact, they advertise. The way they advertise, they can process the lines at session rates, which means 10 gigabit lines. That's the NARIS, not the STA6400, but I forget the name of it. There's another device that they have that does that, but it does it at 10 gigabits. 10 gigabits. That's why they're building Bluffdale, because they have to have more storage because they can't figure out what's important, so they're just storing everything there. So all that email is going to be stored there for the future, but right now it's stored in different places around the country. But it is being collected and FBI has access to it.
You mean it's being collected in bulk without even requesting the providers? And then what about Google, releasing this biannual transparency report and saying that the government's demands for personal data is at an all-time high, and for all of those requests in the U.S., Google says they complied with the government's demands 90% of the time. But they're still saying that they're making the requests. It's not like it's all being funneled into that storage. What do you say to that?
Well, I would assume that that's just simply another source of the same data they're already collecting. Mark Klein, in his declarations in the court about the AT&T facility in San Francisco, documented the NSA room inside that AT&T facility where they had NARIS devices to collect data off the fiber optic lines inside the United States. So that's kind of a powerful device that would collect everything that was being sent. It could collect on the order of over 100 billion 1,000-character emails a day. One device. So that gives you an idea of the magnitude of the kind of collection that's going on.
Well, you're saying they sift through, those are billions of emails. Yep. I wonder, how do they prioritize? I mean, is it like foreign nationals first? How do they prioritize? How do they filter it?
I don't think first of all, I don't think there's any filtering. They're just going to store it all, okay? So then it's just a matter of selecting it when you want it. So if they wanted to target you, they would take your attributes and go into that database and pull out all your data.
That's what I was going to ask. Are they reading my Gmail? I should say there is no Afghanistan general in my mailbox. Sure. Do you think now that I said that, they will stop looking into my mailbox?
I don't think that would make any difference, no. If they had you on the target list, you're on the list. So.
Were you on the target list?
I'm sure. I believe I've been on it for quite a few years, yeah. So I keep telling them everything I think of them in my email, so that when they read it, they'll understand what I think of them.
Do you think we should all leave messages for the NSA in our mailbox?
Sure.
Mr. Binney, you blew the whistle on the agency when George W. Bush was president. With President Obama in office, in your opinion, has anything changed at the agency? In the surveillance program, in what direction is this administration taking program?
The change is that it's getting worse. They're doing more. That's why he is supporting the building of the Buffdale facility, which is over $2 billion they're spending on storage alone of data. So that means that they're collecting a lot more now, and they need more storage for it. So that facility, by my calculations that I submitted in a sworn affidavit to the court for the Electronic Frontiers Foundation lawsuit against NSA, would hold on the order of 5,000 exabytes or 5 zettabytes of data. Just at current storage capacity that's being advertised on the web that you can buy currently. And that's not talking about what they have in the near future.
Okay, so what are they going to do with all of that? Okay, they're storing it. Why should anybody be concerned?
Well, if you ever get on their enemies list like Petraeus did, or for whatever reason, then you can be drawn into that surveillance.
Do you think they were General Petraeus, who was idolized by the same administration, or General Allen?
Well, there's certainly some questions that have to be asked, like why were they targeted to begin with? What law were they breaking, or what probable cause did they have to begin?
In the case of General Petraeus, one would argue that there could have been security breaches, something like that. But with General Allen, I don't quite understand, because what they were looking into were his private emails to this woman, and.
Well, that's the whole point. Yeah, the whole point is what probable cause from the beginning.
And why did they?
I'm not sure what the internal politics is. Yeah, well, that's part of the problem. This government doesn't want things in the public. It's not a government, a transparent government. So whatever they're doing, whatever reason they had to and whatever the motivation was, I'm not privy to it, so I don't really know. But I certainly think that there was something going on in the background that made them target those fellows. I mean, otherwise, why would they be doing it? There is no crime there.
It seems that the public is divided between those who think that the government surveillance program violates their civil liberties and those who say, I have nothing to hide, so why should I care? What do you say to those who think that shouldn't concern them?
The problem is, if they think they're not doing anything that's wrong, they don't get to define that. The central government does. The central government defines what is right and wrong and whether or not they target you. So it's not up to the individual, even if they think they're doing something wrong. If their position on something is against what the administration has, then they could easily become a target.
Tell me about the most outrageous thing that you came across during your work at the NSA.
The violations of the Constitution and any number of laws that existed at the time. That was the part that I could not be associated with. That's why I left there. They were building social networks on who was communicating and with whom inside this country, so that your entire social network of everybody, of every U.S. citizen, was being compiled over time. So they're taking, from one company alone, roughly 320 million records a day. That's how, over time, that's probably accumulated up to close to 20 trillion over the years. The original program that we put together to handle this, to be able to identify terrorists anywhere in the world and alert anyone that they were under jeopardy, would have been able to do that by encrypting everybody's communications except those who were targets, so that in essence you would protect their identities and the information about them until you could develop probable cause. And then once you showed probable cause, then you could do a decrypt and target them. And we could do that and isolate those people all along. That wasn't a problem at all. There was no difficulty in that.
But it sounds very difficult and very complicated. Easier to take everything in and...
No, it's easier to use the graphing techniques, if you will, of relationships for the world to filter out data, so you don't have to handle all that data, and it doesn't burden you with a lot more information to look at than you really need to solve the problem.
So, do you think that the agency doesn't have the filters now?
No.
You have received the Callaway Award for civic courage. I congratulate you for that.
Thank you.
On the website, in the press release, it says it is awarded to those who stand up for constitutional rights and American values at great risk to their personal and professional lives. Under the Code of Spy Ethics, I don't know if there is such a thing. I assume, not. Your former colleagues, they probably look upon you as a traitor. How do you look back at them?
Oh, that's pretty easy. They're violating the foundation of this entire country, of our entire foundation, of why this entire government was formed. It's founded with the Constitution and the rights given to the people in the country under that Constitution. They're in violation of that. And under Executive Order 13526, Section 1.7, governing classification, you cannot classify information that just to cover up a crime, which this is. And that was signed by President Obama. Also, President Bush signed an earlier executive order, a very similar one. If any of this comes into the Supreme Court and they rule it unconstitutional, then the entire house of cards of the government falls.
What are the chances of that? What are the odds?
Well, the government's doing the best they can to try to keep it out of court. And, of course, we're trying to do the best we can to get into court. So we just thought it deserves a ruling from the Supreme Court, ultimately. The court is supposed to protect the Constitution. All these people in government take an oath to defend the Constitution, and they're not living up to their oath of office.
REFM, thought-provoking, always smoking, lyrics like a bazooka. You are listening to Muta Baruka.
Take note that a youth, 20-odd-year-old, this week, bust out some things and run gone to Hong Kong. Even more than where the man there say. So now we're going to play the last one. And this one, I have to take note of this, that this television network is pro-Obama. And when I say pro-Obama, then pro-Obama like how Fox is anti-Obama. The brethren we attack on this program here, since I listened to him over the years, I have never heard him say anything terrible about Obama until now. So you must know how the thing get. Listen to this.
Welcome to the Young Turks' huge news day, and one that is disastrous for the Obama administration. No, not politically. This is when it comes to what he's actually doing. He's going to have backup for a lot of this from Republicans and Democrats, but the reality is, as they say in Game of Thrones, winter is coming, right? Well, Big Brother is coming, and he's here, and his name is Barack Obama. Here is the guy who promised us that we were going to get change. He's delivered nothing but pocket change, and in the case of civil liberties, he has continued to one-up George W. Bush. I guess Bush is his role model, because I can't see any other reason why he would want to continue to emulate him and even go further than George Bush in his abuse of our civil liberties and our privacy. So, point number one, turns out that the NSA has been going into our records through Verizon for over 100 million of us that are connected to Verizon. They have our information. In fact, ABC News has a little bit more on this story.
Even though the alleged court order only allows collection of phone numbers and their frequency and doesn't allow the government to listen in on the actual phone calls, civil liberties groups are outraged. The ACLU calls the practice alarming. Even former Democratic Vice President Al Gore voiced concern on Twitter, saying, in the digital era, privacy must be a priority. Is it just me, or is secret blanket surveillance obscenely outrageous? The order, reportedly obtained 10 days after the Boston Marathon bombings, does not identify intended targets or explain why the government is casting such a wide net.
It was the Verizon court order that got leaked, but there would clearly be court orders for other carriers.
This is unbelievable. Now, if you think, well, they're not listening to the actual calls, but they know who you called. If they wanted to target someone, all they've got to do is look at all the different numbers. For example, let's say a political enemy or a reporter who's doing stories they don't like. It's not like they're beyond targeting reporters. They do it all the time, right? Calls what? Their bookie. Calls escort service. Calls someone to get marijuana. Anything that you could possibly be doing illegal, they've got the information. This is gigantic, Big Brother. So here's more from Glenn Greenwald's article in Guardian that broke the story. The document shows for the first time that under the Obama administration, the communication records of millions of U.S. citizens are being collected indiscriminately and in bulk, regardless of whether they are suspected of any wrongdoing. Remember when they used to tell us that BS about, oh, no, we're only going after terrorists. So what, now the whole country is terrorists or suspected terrorists? They continue. The order, a copy of which has been obtained by The Guardian, requires Verizon on an ongoing daily basis to give the NSA information on all telephone calls in its systems, both within the U.S. and between the U.S. and other countries. You remember when they used to feed us that crap about, oh, no, don't worry, we're just listening to foreign calls. No, they're targeting domestic calls as well. The NSA is not supposed to target domestic calls or anything else. It's supposed to be an agency that looks outward. Is it? No, it's looking inward because Big Brother's coming and he's coming for you. One more from the Guardian article. The secret Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court granted the order to the FBI on April 25th, giving the government unlimited authority to obtain the data for a specified 3-month period on July 19th. Unlimited authority. Now, you remember this guy? This is the guy who ran for office back in 2008, promising change. Laugh along with me.
This administration also puts forward a false choice between the liberties we cherish and the security we provide. I will provide our intelligence and law enforcement agencies with the tools they need to track and take out the terrorists without undermining our Constitution and our freedom. That means no more illegal wiretapping of American citizens. No more national security letters to spy on citizens who are not suspected of a crime. No more tracking citizens who do nothing more than protest a misguided war. No more ignoring the law when it is inconvenient. That is not who we are.
Well, that's not who we're supposed to be, but that's exactly who Barack Obama is. That's who he is. Change. Look, people sometimes say, oh, no, he never promised not to spy in on you. Yes, he did. He promised it right there in the 08 campaign. So, like, this is supposed to be a big faux pas and like, oh, no, don't do it. He lied. It's not subtle. He said there will be no spying on citizens who are not suspected of a crime. He lied. There is spying on all of us, and we are not suspected of a crime. Barack Obama is a liar. Can I make it clear? Like, that's like a big thing to say, oh my God, wow, he just called a politician a liar. Yes, Obama's a politician, he's Big Brother, and he's a liar. And by the way, today, Washington Post breaks another story. It's not just the phone companies, it's the internet companies. They have a secret project that was just revealed today called PRISM that allows all of them to track us through our internet companies. The companies involved are, here, let me read it to you, Microsoft, Yahoo, Google, Facebook, Paltalk, AOL, Skype, YouTube, Apple. A former intelligence officer says they quite literally can watch your ideas form as you type. Oh, no, we're not going to spy in on you. Barack Obama is a liar. Can I be clearer about that? All right, let me bring in my panel. David Sirota is a syndicated columnist, journalist, and best-selling author. Hostile Takeover is one of many books he's written. Lauren Brown Jarvis is a political organizer for Nation Builder. Noah Rothman is an editor at Mediaite. Thank you, guys. Well, obviously you know where I stand. David, thoughts on this?
Well, I think that it's obvious that President Obama didn't follow through on his campaign promises, and I think that what's going on right now is a whole lot of CYA, and I don't think they're going to be able to CYA with this disclosure. I mean, this disclosure, I think, in a certain sense, it confirms what we already, I think, suspected, and many of us strongly suspected. And I think that the question now is, what are going to be the ramifications? Will Congress do anything? Will the courts do anything now that it's out in the open? And I don't know what the answer to that is, but it seems like now there's almost, it would be an embarrassment, not that stops Congress from doing anything, but it would be an utter embarrassment if Congress doesn't even try to do anything.
Well, look, I got bad news for you, David. They're not going to do a damn thing. Now, there are some people on the right side, like Jeff Merkley and Ron Wyden and Udall and Rand Paul on the Republican side. But the great majority of Congress is on the wrong side. Feinstein today saying, this is how we protect America. We must protect the homeland. I was like, thank you, the senator from Stuttgart. I appreciate it. Okay, I mean, it was chilling, her language. And then there's Lindsey Graham, who has found every conceivable way to attack the president. But on this issue, he's like, please spy on us. Oh, great, violate, shred the Constitution, go for it. Watch this.
I hope the American people appreciate that the way you protect the homeland is you try to find out what the enemy's up to. I'm a Verizon customer. It doesn't bother me one bit for the National Security Administration to have my phone number, because what they're trying to do is find out what terrorist groups we know about and individuals and who the hell are calling. And if my number pops up on some terrorist phone, I'm confident that the FISA court is not going to allow my phone calls to be monitored by my government unless you and others can prove to them that I'm up to terrorist activity through a probable cause standard.
So spy on me. And, democracy, the republic, ends to thunderous applause from our Senate and our House in a lot of ways. Noah Rothman, you're a conservative. I'm curious as to what your take on this is.
Well, we've heard that this could have contributed to the thwarting of a terror plot, and that's very significant. If that's true, and that needs to be confirmed, obviously, that's something that you shouldn't just dismiss outright. On the other hand, politically, and you had said in the beginning of the show that this may not be politically damaging for the White House. I'm not sure if it is. The president's mandate in 2008 was transparency. It was a softening of the war on terror, and this is yet the final straw, saying that he's essentially ratified just about every counterterror tactic that the Bush administration used, from extrajudicial killing to extraordinary rendition, and now to wiretapping and to monitoring of communications. So this would be the equivalent of a catastrophic terror attack happening during President Bush's second term. His mandate was to soften counterterror tactics. He's done the precise opposite. It's politically perilous.
Lauren, I'm going to ask you the hardest question of all. Who is this guy? Why does he say in 2008, oh, we're not going to do any of this Bush stuff? And then he puts the Bush programs on steroids. Who is he?
I think that's a fair question, and I think you're also looking at why aren't the American people calling this person into accountability? He is our president. We did elect him, and even our congressional members at that. I mean, until people get angry, and I doubt they're going to get angry, you have to be, pretty well off to have Verizon, and most everybody in America right now is poor and their credit is bad, so they're on Sprint with me. But, if you get angry, if the American people were to get angry enough about this and really call the president and their Congress people down to the carpet, something would change. But everyone's, gone home and checked out on this.
But I also think that there's a normalization. That the reason why the public may not necessarily respond in the way that, for instance, I think the public should respond is there is a kind of, well, I already knew that factor. Well, I already suspected that. Even if it wasn't explicitly news, I'm already expecting that the NSA is looking at Facebook, looking at AOL, looking at those communications, that the NSA is looking at Verizon records. So what's really scary and I think sad is that under the Obama administration, he has not only embraced Bush policies, he has overseen a normalization of now what are transpartisan policies to the point where they're part of the fabric of our expectations and our assumptions about our politics.
Unfortunately, that's a devastating point. It's absolutely true. President Obama took what he said was going to be, these Bush policies that were exceptional and wrong and radical. That's what he campaigned on in 2008. Remember the giant signs that said, change, change. And he did the exact opposite. Instead of change, he brought continuity. And, sometimes you say, all right, well, look, instead of warrantless spying, I'll get a warrant to do of basically 300 million people. Because, Lauren, I got news for you. They're also looking into Sprint. Okay? We just happen to have a document on Verizon.
People really start to think about the fact your phone is your most personal device. And right now it's the location of the call and maybe who you called. But that could easily expand to what pictures did you take? Mm-hmm. Who did you send a tweet to? So when people really start to think about how this program could expand and what that could mean for just personal privacy rights, then we'll see a change. Then they'll call this president into accountability.
Here's the only chance we have is if they actually target other powerful people. If they do this to rich people, because through PRISM, they can look in on your Skype calls. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's the intelligence officers saying, we're looking at what you're typing even if you don't send it.
Right.
Okay? If they do it to rich people, they do it to powerful people like senators or congressmen, or they overwhelmingly do it to the media. Not media like Glenn Greenwald or David Sirota or anything like that. No, they do it to CNN. Then we're going to have an issue. Otherwise, they can do it to us all day long, and the powerful all agree we should have no rights. Mm-hmm. No, it's a terrible day for the Obama administration. And I know they're cavalier about it, and they love to, punch progressives and kick them and call them names and then, be proud of being right-wing and, oh, yeah, I can out-Bush Bush. And they think that's such a brilliant move in Washington. But I got news for you. One day when you lose your base and the right wing continues to attack you viciously and overwhelmingly on stuff that isn't even true. They don't attack on this stuff. They attack on nonsense. Well, then you got nobody to back you up. So, okay, you're all right today. Come back and talk to me 2 years from now when you've devastated your base and the right wing is still attacking. Let's see what happens then. Because then it becomes personal for Obama because his glory would be in danger. Then that'll be an interesting moment. Look, on this show, we try to bring you the truth, no matter how sometimes ugly it is, and sometimes it's wonderful, okay?
R-E-F-M, thought-provoking, always smoking, lyrics like a bazooka. You are listening to Muta Baruka.